What would happen if a powerful billionaire caught his daughter in love with a struggling single dad? Would he use his wealth and influence to tear them apart? Or would he discover something far more valuable than money? In today's emotional and inspiring story, you'll witness a surprising moment that turns judgment into respect and changes lives forever. Stay with us until the end to see how one simple question silenced an entire room and revealed the true meaning of character, family, and love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming stories. And let's get started. The grand ballroom of a luxury hotel in Dallas, Texas sparkled beneath crystal chandeliers as business leaders, investors, and celebrities mingled during an exclusive charity gala. Waiters moved through the crowd carrying silver trays, while a soft piano melody filled the room. At the center of the event stood billionaire Richard Hayes, a man known for building one of the largest technology companies in the country. Dressed in a tailored black suit, he greeted guests with confidence, but his attention suddenly shifted across the room near a large window overlooking the city skyline. His daughter Emily stood talking with a man Richard had never expected to see at such an event. Emily was smiling, her eyes bright with happiness as she laughed at something he had said. Beside the man stood a young boy, no older than 8, holding a glass of juice and looking around with curiosity. The man was Michael Carter, a hardworking single father who spent his days driving delivery trucks and his evenings caring for his son. Richard's expression changed instantly. He knew Emily had been seeing someone, but he had assumed it would be a successful businessman, an executive, or someone from the social circles they often moved in. Seeing her with an ordinary, working-class father caught him completely off guard. Several guests noticed the billionaire's reaction and quietly exchanged glances. Without saying a word, Richard began walking toward them. Conversations faded as people sensed tension building. Emily noticed her father approaching and straightened slightly, though she refused to move away from Michael. Michael remained calm despite the attention now focused on him. He gently rested a hand on his son's shoulder, offering reassurance. The distance between them grew shorter with every step. Whispers spread through the ballroom as guests anticipated a confrontation. Some expected Richard to demand an explanation. Others expected him to order Michael to leave. Yet Michael stood his ground, meeting the billionaire's gaze with quiet confidence, while Emily stayed firmly by his side, determined not to let fear decide her future. The ballroom had become so quiet that the faint music from the piano seemed distant. Dozens of eyes followed Richard Hayes as he stopped directly in front of Michael Carter. The billionaire studied him carefully, saying nothing for several seconds. Emily held her breath, unsure of what would happen next. Around them, guests waited for an argument, expecting Richard to use his power and influence to separate the couple. Instead, Richard looked at the young boy standing beside Michael. The child clung to his father's arm, but remained brave. Richard then turned back to Michael and asked a simple question. "Would you do anything for your son?" The question surprised everyone. Michael answered immediately, without hesitation, every single day. There was no attempt to impress anyone in his voice. It was an honest answer from a father who had spent years sacrificing his own comfort to give his son a better life. Richard saw the sincerity in his eyes. For a moment, the billionaire was no longer standing in a luxury hotel. He was remembering his own childhood, when he had worked long hours and faced countless struggles to support the people he loved. A thoughtful expression crossed Richard's face. He looked around at the wealthy guests gathered nearby. Many had impressive titles, expensive cars, and enormous bank accounts. Yet he knew that true character could not be measured by money. Finally, he stepped forward and addressed the room. "This man has more integrity and heart than many millionaires have met." Throughout my life, a wave of surprise moved through the crowd. Emily's eyes filled with tears as relief washed over her. Michael remained humble, saying nothing. Then Richard extended his hand. After a brief pause, Michael shook it firmly. The gesture carried more meaning than words ever could. The tension vanished instantly. Emily smiled as her father placed a hand on her shoulder. Guests who had expected conflict instead witnessed acceptance. Moments later, applause spread across the ballroom. What began as a moment of judgment ended as a celebration of respect, family, and the realization that a person's worth is defined by character, not wealth.